Okay. There's my audience. Okay. Informational speech. Until death do us part. Alright. What is divorce? Divorce, or the dissolution of marriage, is the termination of a mutual union, the canceling of the legal and responsibilities of marriage, and the dissolving of the bonds of matrimony between a married couple. Today, divorce is more common than not. Divorce has become an American way of life, only as a result of recent and revolutionary change. Marriage is meant to be forever, but at times the husband and wife can be so unhappy that their only way to ever be happy again is by getting a divorce. Divorce is painful for the ones that are being affected, no matter the reasoning behind it. Today, 1 out of 2 families get divorced, and most of these families include children. Children become threatened by their security as they will no longer have both parents there to protect them. Divorce has been a rare occurrence for most of the nation's history. The first divorce in the New World, recorded in 1639, when a Massachusetts woman had discovered her husband was married to another woman. She is rewarded the couple's property grounds, and her husband is fined. Records throughout the 17th and 18th century reveal scandal and divorces caused by adultery. During this time, divorce was granted mostly to men and was very expensive, so only the rich could afford a divorce. In 1643, the Boston Quarter Court allowed Anne Clark to divorce her husband. Dennis Clark signed an affidavit in which he admitted abandoning his wife for another woman, and he also had 2 children with each of these women. He refused to return to his wife, leaving the court no choice but to punish him and grant his wife a divorce. The court's final decision read, Anne Clark being deserted by Dennis Clark, her husband, and he refusing to accompany with her, she is granted to be divorced. It was more difficult to obtain a divorce outside of New England. New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania allowed divorce based on adultery and in some cases desertion. At this time, the only way that you would be granted a divorce is to provide evidence that the spouse is guilty. The state of Maryland was mostly made up of Catholics, and because divorce was against the Catholic religion, the state only granted 30 divorces a year. In 1772, Thomas Jefferson was the defense for a couple seeking separation. He noted he not only favored divorce for adultery, but also when a marriage was struck by incompatibility. His mindset was slowly becoming the norm. Post-revolution Americans were eager to enjoy various freedoms, not just from British rule, but from existing religious and societal standards. When the sexual revolution and women's movement in the 1960s, attitudes toward divorce began to change. Although there is still a large amount of stigma about divorce in America, social policies became more liberal. In 1960, the divorce rate stood at a relatively modest level for 9 per 1,000 married couples. The divorce rate began to climb in the late 1960s, but between 1970 and 1975, the divorce rate increased by nearly 40%. Although divorce rates leveled off in the 1980s, experts believe that they will hold in the near future. Statistics show that half of all marriages in America will end up in divorce. As more and more couples move in together before they are married, it seems that the couples that would have ended in divorce are ending before the marriage even occurs. This is helping to keep the divorce rate down. By living with your significant other before tying the knot, it can help you make a marriage more stable. You are willing to learn what differences the couple may have living under one roof. It helps the couple to realize if these differences are something that they're willing to live with and work on forever. If you decide you cannot adapt to these changes, they are able to leave the relationship. In Western cultures, more than 90% of the people marry by the age of 50. Healthy marriages are good for couples' mental and physical health. They are also good for children. Growing up in a happy home protects children from mental, physical, and educational and social problems. However, about 40 to 50% of married couples in the United States will divorce. Each year, more than 10 million American children suffer from the divorce of their parents. Half of the children born this year to married parents will see their parents divorced by the time they turn 18 years old. Children with divorced parents are more likely to suffer from abuse, do worse in school, and have a higher dropout rate. Helping your kids cope with divorce means providing stability in your home and attending the child's needs with a reassuring positive attitude. The most important thing that parents can do for their children when helping them cope with divorce is staying involved in the child's life. When divorced parents fight over the child can't help but think that they have done something wrong. By working together to get along and agree on matters that will infect the child with the best thing that can be done. The parents cannot expect the child to be the messenger between the parents. Because the divorce rate is so high, children coming from a divorced family have many struggles than a child with happily married parents. For a child whose parents go through divorce, this is the turning the child's life upside down in a short matter of time. Because of sudden change, this can cause the children to suffer from anxiety, stress, and depression, and it can leave the children feeling emotionally, mentally, and physically vulnerable. Although there will be no end to divorce in the future, this should be something that couples consider before the couple says I do. If something is broken, are they just going to throw it away? Will they work on fixing the problem? Life is never easy. There is always a battle that we will have to face, whether it's with school, work, our relationship, etc. There will always be hills to climb and speed bumps to get over, but it will only make us stronger. And my references for this speech is Children in Divorce, 2013, Marriage and Divorce, Dilemma in the Early Americans for Divorce, and What is Divorce? Thanks.